Very good morning, students, to all of you. Good morning, herein, and all the students who are there in the live particular session. So, students, this happens to be my first class. The first class for the students appearing for May 24 and November 24 attempt, CA final direct tax. The batch students is 100% in English. So, that is first and foremost particular point. And obviously, students, as all of you are aware, that you all are now would be having a new course. New course for direct tax law. Many students are saying, sir, what would be the changes? As such, direct tax may not have much of changes because the law will remain the same. Indeed, the law is the same. However, as on today, which is 1st September 2023, ICA has not released any of the module. In fact, just in the morning, I was just checking whether the module has been released by the ICA. So they say module 1 coming soon. That is also the case with the IDT. Why we are so much curious to know about it? Because what has changed, students, in the case of direct tax law? If you see the content which is there, which is the heads of income, which is very important for the computation of total income and the tax liability, those heads of income are being removed primarily and they have been kept for the inter-CA. Inter-CA, any case, they already do these heads of income. But I have heard one of the central council saying that we just want to make now the distinction very clear. If inter-CA is doing X, final CA will not be doing X plus 1. Final CA will be doing Y. So if inter-CA does X, final CA should do Y. So this is what is the going forward. Primarily, this is what is the going forward, students, the scope. So definitely, students, what we used to do earlier was that one thing therefore is very clear, that any question which is specifically in respect of a heads of income, that will not be targeted in final CA. Any question which is specifically for, say for example, depreciation calculation, that will not come. You will say earlier used to come, yes, some section it used to come. Specifically for that section in the heads of income, specifically for that section in the heads of income, the question used to be there. But as I told you now, going forward, it will not be there. But then in that case, sir, our inter-CA is very weak, isn't it? Inter-CA students, many students, I understand that you people have done GST and income tax together. And many students have their focus on the GST part. Income tax, they don't do much decent job. Why? Because the syllabus is very vast. And that is the reason why for inter-CA, the knowledge level is very, very bad. The knowledge level of the students is very bad. As far as the income tax is concerned, I can say out of my experience now, of now 20 years or so, 90% students are in this bracket who are in final CA right now. Their income tax inter-CA knowledge is very weak and they are supported by GST. So many students have scored 60 plus also in inter-CA, but unfortunately their inter-CA income tax portion is very, very, very weak. And that is the reason why when I will do now here in final CA, primarily, I will be assuming your knowledge of income tax is virtually zero. It is what? Virtually it is zero. So we will be looking from the base and we will take it to the advanced level. Looking to the base and we will take it to the advanced level. But at the same time, students, we should be as relevant as possible, because obviously the direct tax paper is such a huge, vast journey that you can keep diving and you can keep speaking on and on family for hours and hours, and you can go easily directionless. That is the reason why, students, this May 24 and November 24 attempt, to ensure that we have 100% coverage of all the content of the ICI which they have covered in their modules, plus all the coverage of the past year attempt RTPs, MTPs, suggested beautiful questions. I will be now directing your syllabus. I will be now, students, in this particular case, we will be doing in this particular way. Students, there is, I suppose that all of you are aware. Now, what is the paper number in the new course? Earlier I used to write paper number 7, direct tax. Now, what is the paper number? Paper number is 5. Paper 5 or here in 4. Paper number 4. So, if you see therein, they say in your ICI website, it's paper number 4. Now, students, over here, in this case, we will split your syllabus into 2 parts. Which are the 2 parts? First will be your normal direct tax law. Okay. In this case, I'll say this as domestic. And another, students, I will now use the word international tax. International tax. So this is a split in your paper. Virtually, students, you will find this anything now around 30 marks stake would be there. 30 mark stakes is there in this context. And if I now add black money law also, you can say more 5 marks. 35 marks around stake would be there in this. So I will say herein, plus there is one law which is on black money. Black money. So maybe you can say marks allocation for black money they have not given. I'm just estimating, knowing in old course there was an elective paper, paper 6C. In the old course, there was an elective paper, paper 6C. In that, black money law was there. Taxation of undisclosed foreign income and foreign assets. This is the name of the law. Taxation of undisclosed foreign income and foreign asset. Short form, I am saying black money. So therefore, in this case, students, approximately around 5 marks is what I'll say for this. This is what we will. So in this case, the class we are now in this case, this would be our module number 1. Module number 1. I have approximately covered around 250 pages of worth of the material which is there on this, fully researched. And I am telling you, students, the kind of the question which I have selected, kind of the MCQs which I have put up, kind of the case study which I have taken, they are really going to test you to the most difficult question paper of the ICI. Believe me, students, you yourself will appreciate that the level cannot go bigger than this. I have assumed that ICI in your May 24, November 24 attempt is going to set a very difficult paper. Why difficult paper? Because the paper number of papers are going less, isn't it? In all now there are 6 papers. One is elective type of paper, which is multidisciplinary. 6 papers. So what ICI says that if we are expecting now you should have an expert opinion, we mean that you should have an expert opinion. Earlier it was 8 and students used to feel the pressure. Now what they did, they made it down to 6. Now their expectation level would be higher. And knowing this, I'm telling you students, I have taken no chance. You will find the best of the content from me, best of the classroom teaching in terms of the logical explanations, the background and the foreground, and more importantly the practice that we will involve with the kind of questions which are there. It will take you to the really next level. So this is my first thing, because the reason is very clear students, that I just need to know the extent of the coverage that these people have done it. I will wait for some 15-20 days more, primarily from the ICI, to release their module. I think they should release their module in the next 15-20 days. More or less the content is ready, but the extent is the key for us, because here they have done some manipulation. It's here which they have done some manipulation. So this would be approximately around 70 marks, 65 to 70 marks. I will say this way, 65 to 70 marks. Students, I should tell you one thing. In this 30 marks question paper, the questions are always new. In the last, if I have to tell you, if the last so many attempts in non-resident tax, international taxation, the syllabus is limited, but the questions are always new. What does it mean? It means this, that students should have as many exposure as possible to the varieties of permutation and combinations which are there, so far as this particular part of your syllabus is concerned. Varieties of permutation and combination, students, is important over here, and that is the reason why primarily I have captured a lot of questions, lot of MCQs over here in this particular context. So this is primarily the bifurcation, and therefore sir, this will require all of you primarily a good amount of practice to really get a good grip on this particular side of your syllabus. Thereafter students, we will move on this one with another two modules over here. So you can say module number 2 and module number 3 I will be devoting for this. 2 and 3. So 3 modules will comprehensively now cover your entire syllabus. Entire syllabus, students. Okay. Then the next challenge of the students is, sir, paper is over. We liked whatever it was taught, but then what we are fear is about the revision. What about the revision, sir? So students, what I do is this, that I make there is a colorful chart which I will let you know somewhere in the month of December or so. Those chart will be out, and based on the chart we will do the revision. But the best part of the revision would be the way you have learnt it. That is how we are going to revise it through that particular chart. Okay, December the chart will be there. The lectures of the revision I will put up in the YouTube. Those lectures primarily I will be putting up, students, in the YouTube. Now one good particular part for all the students who are joined for the regular batch. Students, for every module we will have a test. Every module, 3 modules are there. So 3 tests I am going to have it. Why the test is important, students? There is a reason for it. I must not say this openly in the public platform, but still one of our own students, she is the head examiner of the direct tax law. She has said that's a 10 to 15 marks of what we deduct in the paper is mainly to do with the 2 reasons. One is the content knowledge is not there. So any case we don't care. If you don't know, you don't know. Second, what she said, mainly this is very important, students. She says that's a 10 to 15 marks. Generally we have seen students don't score because when they start writing the paper, some of the mistakes that they do are not acceptable, and irrespective of their good performance, irrespective of their good performance in any of the question that they do, because of those unacceptable mistakes that they do, their good performance also get shadowed. Means they don't get, they already say that okay, this candidate, if he can make such mistake and he is going to be a CA, then in that case he is not that deserving candidate. So therefore, in this case, students, this is one of the aspect which primarily we need to be very, very careful about this particular part in this particular context. So therefore, students, the test would be a critical journey for all of you. Just a second, the flickering is there. Just, yeah, I think now it's okay. So students, in this particular context, we will have those test series because mainly what I want to ensure that first of all, how much time you are completing your paper, because old course paper students were very lengthy. One of the biggest challenge, one of the biggest challenge of the students, one of the biggest challenge of the students was that they could not complete their papers. This was there in the old course. New course, we are yet to see and test them in this context. So my point is that let's assume, because yours is the first attempt, let's assume that in the new course also the paper will be lengthy. So every module, when I'll set you the question, we will have a time bound. This thing. Many students who are there in the online will say, sir, how we are going to do? So for all of you students, what you can do is that paper will be given to you. Now you will know what is the time that is allocated for the same, and within that time you are supposed to solve it. Give the paper to me through a scan. I'll check it, evaluate it, and I will just send it to you all across. Okay. So that is how we are going to deal with it. So students, this is how primarily we are going to cover it up in terms of our coverage. In terms of one, conceptual learning, second, practice, thereafter, test, and finally the revision. The revision part, students, as I told you, will be dealt with it when somewhere in like December or so, when the charts will be released. At that time, the YouTube revision videos would be shared with all of you, and the way you have learnt it, it's the same way you're going to revise it. I'm telling you students, the content primarily is going to match with the ICI latest material. Whatever is there in the latest material of the ICI, that is how you're going to get primarily your entire coverage. Because I'm aware of the fact, because people were saying, sir, but bit early you should have started off. That is fine. But I just wanted to ensure that, as I told you, we can easily go directionless in this paper. Huh? The paper is huge. I can speak on a section for an hour and hour without any objective. And you people, being a students, you're a poor students, what you can do? You will listen and you will get mesmerized. Okay, sir, this and that and all. But we don't know whether we are relevant or we are irrelevant. That's a danger that is there for this particular subject. So knowledge, which should be decisive. Decisive means should be relevant as well. Both the things should go hand in hand. On that note, students, let's start with your this thing. Shall we start with this thing? Again, I'm telling to all of you, I'll expect that you people have got absolutely no knowledge so far as the direct tax law is concerned. Okay, so rest assured that whatever now I'm going to take you through in the journey of this, you people are starting afresh. So let's start with, okay, now we'll say, sir, modules, sir, when you will be providing, in this case, students, I will be those students who are in the live and the classroom. I'll be giving you students for the first topic the PDF, because it just the last topic. I'm putting some more questions on that based on some of the very good questions of earlier particular attempt, and this is going to be really a breakthrough for all of you. I'm telling you students, everything is covered. You yourself will see students. I'm telling you, it's not a big thing, but I can tell you across the country you will not find this sort of a material. This is the kind of assurance I'm telling you. Across the country this material will not be found. This is the level of the paper now students I have made it. So yes, I had taken some time, but it was all worth it. So students, from your side, so I'll give you the first topic PDF to all the students in the class and face to face. First topic PDF. In the meantime, the textbook will come. PDF means material I'm going to share in the classroom. For those who are taking up right now online, for them students, first topic I'm sharing the PDF for all of you. Please maintain a notebook separately. That is important only for me, not merge with any other subject, because I will make you write also a lot. Why? Because your writing is very poor. You students, tax has its own language. Tax speaks in its own particular way. So there is a good amount that you should spend in writing the tax law. The language of tax law and the language of auditing is different. They are not in English. You'll say, but sir, it is English. No, they are in a different language. Like if you have in auditing, I remember this. Like audit materiality. An item is material if its misstatement affects the economic decision of the user of the financial statement. This is not a simple English. This is the auditing language. Same way, income tax, direct tax has its own language. And to get a grip of that language, it is important that you should write. And hence, I will be making you write lot of important areas so that in the examination, when you actually have to attempt it, your language should not be an ordinary English. Your language has to be in line with what the ICI wants you to write as an expert in direct tax law. As an expert in direct tax law, this is the level that you people are in. I hope that all of you are clear with this one. So therefore a separate notebook, if possible, two color pen, because one color pen would be highlighting the keywords. One very basic question which many students ask. Let me sort out in the first class itself. Basic question. Sir, are we supposed to by heart the section? No. I also don't know. I also don't know verbatim what the section says. Everything. Many things I know, but not everything I know. Many things I know because of the experience now. But are we supposed to by heart the section? Answer is no. But you should know in that section what were the keywords. The keywords are the game. Because some section keyword you cannot substitute with any other word. If you do, it will dilute or reduce the impact of the section. So those keywords are important, and based on that keywords, you can then try to explain in your own words without taking out that keywords. Is that clear to all of you students? Fine. So just keep that particular point in mind, students. With that, students, let's start. So two color pen if possible, one exclusive notebook. That is all what is required from your side. So students, herein, please write over here. So give the heading introduction. The topic probably we are starting is introduction now. Give the heading introduction. Okay, students. Now, in the case of introduction, students, of what? First of all, it is the Income Tax Act. Income Tax Act 1961. That all of you are aware of it, isn't it? First and the foremost thing, students, I must tell to all of you. This letter A, whenever, first very common mistake that students do, what they do? Somewhere, students will write like this. Section 32 of the Income Tax Act 1961. Never ever, students, never ever, ever write act like this. A cannot be a small letter. The word act, if it is coming as a first word of the sentence, last word of the sentence, or in between, A has to be capital. This is the first put off to the examiner, that if you use the word act in a small letter, never use that. Act always has to be in capital. Okay. Second and important point, very important thing which I am just telling to all of you now. Students says that, sir, half of the time in our examination goes only writing like this. Section 32 of the Income Tax Act. Some next question I am writing, sir, section 147 of the Income Tax Act 1961. In the third question I am writing section 44 of the Income Tax Act 1961. Every section I have to keep on writing this. No. What you should do, students, now this is very important, because going forward this is what it will be used. First question, students, whenever it is there in the examination, question number 1 for example, if you are answering, so obviously you will write the section. What will be the section? As per say section 32 of the income, full you will write of the Income Tax Act 1961. Income Tax Act 1961. Now in the bracket you will write. What do you write? Herein, yes. Herein after. Herein after referred as. Referred as what? Referred as an act. So now what happens? From the next question onwards. From the next question onwards, students, what are you going to do? Say next question is of 147. So you will say as per section 147 of the act. Of the act. I hope that all of you are clear with this one. This is what you will do. This will save your time, and going forward in our classroom also, I am going to also make you write like this only. Is that point clear to all of you? Going forward in the classroom also, like section number 24 of the act. And act, again I am repeating, A letter always capital. A letter always capital. I hope that every one of you are clear with this particular point. If that be so, let's begin. Let's begin, students, with this case, with a preliminary observation which I have given it to you. On that note, I am going to start. First section, students, in the Income Tax Act. First section, students, in the Income Tax Act or any taxation law. What do you say? Which is the section apart from definition? Leave aside definition. Which is the first section in a taxation law that you want to focus on? First section. That is indeed a charging section. Always remember this, students. The first section of the income tax law or any taxation law that you should put your emphasis upon, apart from the definitions, the title and other things, is what is the charging section. And the charging section is the one which we are going to primarily focus upon first in our introductory lecture and the introductory topic. And what is the charging section? Herein, the first, as I told you, section number 4 of the Income Tax Act is the charging section. Section number 4 is what? It is the charging section. What is charging section? What do you mean by the term charging section, students? To levy tax. Yeah. What is the reason for? What is the reason for the levy of the tax? So, the scope, yeah. What is why the tax is levied? What is the reason for levy of the tax? Like, for example, customs duty in indirect tax law, or may I say, students, the taxable event. Charging section is nothing but what? A taxable event. What is taxable event? The event on the happening of which, the tax shall be imposed. That is the charging section, isn't it? So therefore, if you know, in the customs law, the chargeability is on what event? Import into or export from India, isn't it? That is the charging section as far as the customs law is concerned. What about the GST? There is also a charging section in the GST. What is the event on happening of which the GST is charged? Supply of goods and services. Supply of goods and services. Same way, as far as income tax law is concerned, what is the charging section on happening of which the tax will be imposed under this act? Yeah, section 4. And what is that event? Because of which the income tax you have to pay. You said that for custom duty it is import export. For GST it is supply. So for income tax, what is that event? The generation of income, isn't it? The generation of the income which has been there over here in this particular context, students. So income is one of the point Income is one of the points. So just a second. There's a bit of flickering which is going on. Just a second. So students, as you can say, the taxable event, students under the income tax law, yes, you can say that. Earning of income, generation of income, isn't it? But I think now it is a time that we have to be quite precise about what the section says. So therefore, section number 4 of the income tax law, which is a charging section, I want all of you to copy this very thoroughly. Students, please write the, now if you have got other color pen, the total income, the total income of a person for the previous year shall be charged to tax, shall be charged to tax in the next following assessment year. In the next following assessment year. So what do we say, students? The total income of a person. You people have said, sir, income is what is a taxable event under the income tax law. So the answer to that is, it is not the income, but it is total income of a person for a previous year. Now the fact is very important. Which says a difference of income or total income. Please be careful. The very difference is this. Be careful. If it would have been income, which is a taxable event, then do you know, students, what would have happened? On every income which is earned, like today also I am earning an income. Am I paying the tax today itself? Or am I levied or charged the tax today itself? No. Every transaction I am earning the income. Is it therefore that on every transaction that the income tax is charged? That answer is also no. So it is not on the every income on which the tax is imposed, but it is on what? On the total income. That is, the income tax is levied or it is charged. Now, in that case, students, this is such an important word, which is the word total. And if it is a total, it is not for a transaction, it is for a period. Again, I'm repeating. If it is a total of income, so it is not for a particular transaction, but it is for a particular period. And the period over here is what? Is a financial year. The period over here is what? A financial year. I'll make you write a note on that. Brief note I'm going to give you. Just pick up this concept, huh? Friends, it's a very important concept. So the total of the total of the income you will do for a period. This period could be a month or a quarter or a 6 months or a calendar year or a financial year. So here, as far as income tax law is concerned, the total is for a financial year which is previous. Which previous year? Which previous year we are talking about it this time? Your previous year is for your attempt May 24, November 24. Which is the previous year that we are targeting, students? It is previous year, current financial year, which is 23, 24. This is the period for which we are supposed to do the total. And hence, I said to all of you, what did I told to all of you? That income tax is not a transaction based law. It is not a transaction based. It is not on income that you earn in every transaction that the tax is levied. It is the tax on a particular period. On the entire period, how much of the income that you have earned, that is what is subject to a charge. Please compare if you people have done GST or customs duty. In the charging section of the custom duty, those students who are going to do later or those who have already have done, the charge is on import into India or export from India. That is a charge of customs law. Is it that total import and total export for a previous year? No. And hence, on every particular import or every particular export, custom duty is charged. Take an example of GST. Those students who have not yet learned GST, those who have learned it good, they know that in the charging section, they don't talk about total supply. They only talk about supply. Supply of goods and services. They don't say total supply of a period. They never say that. They say supply of goods and service. And that is the reason why those who have not done GST right now, those who will do GST later on, for the benefit of them, just think a simple example, common example. You go to the restaurant, they put a GST. So what it is? Transaction based. The tax is levied on transaction. So therefore, can I say now indirect tax law? Indirect tax law is a transaction based tax. Can I say that indirect tax law is a transaction based? Answer is yes. Is it a business tax? Answer is yes. Payment of indirect tax. Now be careful. Huh? See how I'm linking. Please pick up my interlinking. Therefore, payment of indirect tax, because it is transaction based, because it is for business, can I say it is allowed as deduction in computing my business and profession? I'm talking about what? I'm talking about indirect tax only, because it is transaction based, because it is a tax of business. Can I therefore say the payment of indirect tax, being transaction based, being for a business, will it be allowed as deduction? Yes. So please make this distinction very clear. Indirect tax, transaction based. It is not on total, it is on import, it is on supply. Income tax law, it is not on income, but it is on total. So it is not transaction, it is the period. And the period over here is previous year, which is the financial year. What is the financial year, students? 23-24. Is that point clear to all of you? I'll come to the next part, but before that, I'll give you a brief note. You want to take a note, students, on this? Please take a note. Brief note. All of you have copied down this one, no? Charting section. Write note number 1. A brief note I'm giving it to you so that the charge of the income tax, the charge of the income tax is not on the income, but on the total income of a person, but on the total income of a person. Full stop. Accordingly, the chargeability under this act, is for a period, which is the financial year known as a previous year. The financial year known as a previous year. Full stop. Okay. Now let's try to take out this mystery of, sir, from inter CA we are hearing this concept previous year, an assessment year, but we never realized what exactly this, why the term previous year, isn't it? Let us decode this in the introductory class itself, so that we will be at peace later on. Students, tell me then, for financial year 23-24, what is the earliest point of time? What is the earliest point of time when you can do the totaling of the income? Earliest time. If you want to do the totaling of the income for what? For the financial year 23-24, then what is the earliest point of time? So one obvious answer that we are getting it over here in the classes, 31st of March 2024 is the earliest point of time. But in this case, don't you think that the person who is in restaurant business, he is still earning, and that is going to wait till midnight? Is he in a position to do the totaling? No, he can, in fact, it's crossing to the totaling. So it means that 31st of March also as late as midnight 12 a.m. Midnight 12 a.m. people are earning the income. At least we can say this city at 12 o'clock primarily all the hotels are on over here. In which case we can say that here still the income is been earned as late as 12 o'clock midnight. So the earliest time if somebody has to do the totaling of the income for which period is financial year 23-24, can I say therefore earliest time is the next day, which is 1st April 2024. This therefore, or may I say the 1st April of the next financial year. 1st April of what? The next financial year is the earliest time when you can do the totaling of what? Totaling of the income of which year? Previous year. Income of which year? Totaling of the income of which year? The previous year. And what is the previous year in this case? Previous year is 23-24, and that's the reason why the term previous year. And that's the reason why the term previous year, students. Because you can do the totaling of the income as early as the 1st April of the next financial year. So, if today is 1st April 2024 and I want to do the totaling, then totaling of which year? Of the previous year. And hence the previous year. And now this year, when I'm doing the totaling of the income and thereafter computing my tax liability, this year therefore will be referred as the assessment year. Assessment year. So what is the important step? Please be careful. What is the important step that you do in the assessment year? The most important step that you do in the assessment year is totaling of the income. What is the next step? Computation of your self-assessment tax liability. And after that, what do you do? Filing the return. So, can I therefore say, be careful. Can I therefore say, these three events, again repeat, the three events are computation of total income, computation of tax liability, and filing of the return of income. These three events are the events of the assessment year. These three events are what? The events of the assessment year. And that is the reason why in the topic of assessment procedure, you will forget the name previous year. Entire assessment procedure chapter, they will only talk about assessment year, assessment year, assessment year. They will say return of income of assessment year this. Every stage they will say return of income of assessment year this, return of income of assessment year. They will only talk about assessment year. Why? Because this is what you do in the assessment year. This is the event of the assessment year. And because this is the event of the assessment year, therefore the language that they are going to use is assessment year. And this is what I wanted to caution to all of you. Whenever you will write your answer, now you know that these are the event of the assessment year. So accordingly, our answer should also reflect this level of understanding that return of income for assessment year. Never ever use the word previous year over here. So you should know exactly that we are in the stage of assessment year. We are in the stage of the assessment year. Is that point clear to all of you? Okay, please take a note number 2 then in this case. All of you. Note number 2. Please write. In the case of note number 2, the earliest point of time, the earliest point of time when a person can compute the total income, can compute the total income of say the financial year of say the financial year say the financial year 23-24 23-24 is right like this: the 1st April of the next financial year, the 1st April of the next financial year, that is 1st April 2024. That is 1st April 2024. And therefore, and therefore, and therefore, as on 1st April 2024, as on 1st April 2024, a person can compute, a person can compute the total income of, the total income of the, right like this, in the capital of the previous year, previous year 2023-24. Full stop. Next line, same note, but next line. Accordingly, the period 2024 and 25 is known as the relevant period. Please write the word relevant period. The relevant period 2024-25 is known as the assessment year. Again, assessment in capital. The assessment year for the purpose of, for the purpose of, point number A, computation of the total income. Point number B, computation of the tax liability. And point number C, the filing of the ROI. Filing of the ROI. The filing of the ROI. Is that point clear to all of you students? Perfect. In fact, students, in your examination, in your interest year, remember what you people used to do in interest year? If I can recall, in your interest year, you used to say, Mr. A, computation of total income. Then you used to write primarily as previous year this, assessment year this, and then particulars amount. In final CA, you will not get that much of luxury of time, but at least you also need to write. So in final CA, what you can do is that computation of total income for assessment year. Here, computation of total income for AY. This you are telling I am computing in AY. AY what? AY 24-25. Computation of tax liability for AY 24-25. AY is sufficient. Why AY is sufficient? Because you are doing this exercise in the assessment year. That is sufficient. And by the time, students, you people are in your examination, May 24, November 24, already you are in that next financial year, 24-25, when you give your examination. So your assessment year will have reached, isn't it? And by then, obviously, your assessment year is already there, 24-25, and in that assessment year, you are doing the computation of total income for the previous year and all those stuff. So that is it. Assessment year is therefore very critical, because you do in the AY this. I hope that every one of you students are very clear on this case. If that be the case, students, over here, in this context, point number, last one important point, because I did something about the income tax. I did something about the GST and customs law. Because it is, the tax is not on income. It is on what? It is on the total income. And if it is on the total income, therefore, it is for a period. Total income, we say, you have heard of this word, students? Heard of this word? Qua. In law, this is the Latin word actually, but it is frequently used. You will read, in as a professional, you will start reading this also. Qua. Qua means, students, in relation to. Okay. You will learn, students, in this case. Yesterday, I heard Mr. Harish Salve, he was in the Supreme Court arguing this particular, in that article 370 something is going on. So Harish Salve, in his particular remark, he put down that principle before the Supreme Court, and again a Latin principle which I'm teaching to all the students, and I was felt so good about it. And he said about, there is a concept of herein, this concept, lex non logit ad impossiblia. Which is, sir, which class we entered? Latin class? Yes. Lex non logit ad impossiblia means there is, Latin is the first from where the legal things came. That's the origination primarily. So from the Latin, all the principle originated, and accordingly, every law, accordingly based on that principle, they started making their own laws. So therefore, this is always considered as a base for all the principle for the this thing. So this means what? Actually, I'll just tell you. It will come somewhere. It will come in our discussion, and I'll make you write. Okay, friends. Whenever you learn something new, if you want, you can use your last page and keep writing those things. You'll say, what is the use? You know what is the use. If it is there in the last page, you may wonder, sir, at the end, everything else, my 2 pages got filled only for writing this, isn't it? 2 pages got filled, and then, like I am speaking with you, suddenly a word comes in my mind, I make you write. In the examination also, if you are in a position to write 2 pages, I will give it to you over a period of time. Maybe if you can only write 5 or 6 also, it creates a great impression in the mind of the examiner. Why great impression? Because it is only you who are the one who are writing it in the exam. Not only in your center, not only in your city, but across in India. This is the difference. And I am telling you, being the best paper award myself in direct tax law, in my attempt I scored 77 marks in direct tax CFR, which was 77, the best paper. It was one of the very difficult paper, and 77 ended up getting the best paper. There is a great story, but some other day I'll reserve that story for all of you. Okay, if you let me in fact give you a particular bit of inspiration. So students, I was in Ernst & Young, EY, I was doing their articleship, and after qualified, I got a CA final rank also, 21st rank. So with 77 marks in direct tax, CA final 21st rank, I wanted to change my department. I was in taxation department, and then I wanted to switch to international tax department. Earlier, this Big Four used to have only two: corporate tax, international tax. I wanted to go in international tax. The partner, obviously, I qualified the CA. I got a rank also, and then DT I got best paper award, 77 marks. There is a story behind this, of 77 also. But just I'll tell you about one interview which I have faced. So in our, this is the internal, because I'm joining the same company, EY, but I just want to change my department. So what I did, so my partner, obviously the partner will be new because the department is new. So my boss, Pranav Sehta, he was the boss, Mr. Pranav Sehta. So I had to go for the interview. It's a formality. You know you are selected, but it's a formality because the partner should know who is there in the team. So obviously that interview he will do. So when I went to his cabin, students, when I went to his cabin, I had my this mark sheets and all testimonial. I just put it across. Obviously I was working in EY, so that is fine. But more importantly, my first is rank. Second was this 77. Both pushed ahead just for him to see. So he asked me one question. What he asked me a question? You got 77 marks in DT. He said, I said yes. Suddenly, obviously, you just got called for third, and this is achievement. So shoulder also gets broadened that way. So broad shoulders, yes, it's 77. And the way you sit also changes from what you sit when you were an article. Now you become a CA, and that too with this kind of a meritorious performance. So your way of sitting style also changes. So I said yes to 77. He said that can you make a guess that what would be the all India highest mark in direct tax so far? I came to know that partner asking me this. I immediately came to know this is a trap question that he's put me in. Trap. Why? Because obviously partner asking me because he just want to know my temperament and all. He just want to now know my temperament because I put this mark sheet ahead of him and my rank, and now based on that he's asking me a question. Obviously he could have asked me something on tax, but he's not interested to ask me in tax because he knows that now he knows whatever he knows. Obviously he's competent candidate, but I just need to see his temperament, how he's reacting. So he's asking me all these kind of question. And what is the question? Can you tell me which is the all India highest mark in direct tax so far? That time 77, that was 2003. I said that, sir, and I said DT like theory paper. Right now it has become more practical. That time it was more theory. Only one question was practical. Rest of it all theory. Theory means case study, case study, case study. So I said 77. Then I said in my mind I said what could be the possible. I said 80, 81. Somebody will score. It was a big mark. That's the other thing that my own student has scored 94, and he also got best paper award in 2013-2014. So I said, sir, 81, 82. He said, no. The all India highest mark in direct tax is 99, and that is scored by me. He is saying, what he said? All India highest mark is in direct tax is 99, and that is scored by me. Now, I was looking at him. I just didn't know how to react, but I came to know now he is in fact putting me in a great. He's circling me completely. And I think that if I speak anything wrong here, I'm out. I said that the best thing is keep quiet. And I was just looking at him, 99, and it is scored by me. I said, but myself, I said, why 99? You would have said 100 also. Who is stopping you? Boss is there, boss is always right. So I just speaking to myself, why 99? Sir, say 100. But that is only to me. I could not say to him in this case. So that is what, he was just glaring at me. And he was just wanted to know how I'm reacting now. I said that it's a trap. Let me not say anything. I just nodded my head and I just went away. I said that what kind of person he is. I thought that he will praise me for my achievement. On the contrary, he put a trap question and told me what is all India highest mark. I said 82. He said 99, and that too he has scored. And that indeed he has scored. Came to know indeed he scored 99 marks in direct arts. This person. And somebody who can score 99 in direct arts. What will be the all India rank? It has to be all India rank 1, and he was all India rank 1. Two lessons learned. Primary one, there is always a person above you. Always. There is a person above you. Primary. So, always be humble to your achievement. Two, that learn from what primarily that person is did. That learning, I have learned tremendous thing. All these things are from him. Primarily, in my entire journey in this case. The language that he used, it's not that he is a great English oriented speaker. No, normal. But when he speaks simple English, but the language that he will move in, it becomes like all these things that like one will realize why I could not do it. And then one realize that we never thought of it and we never practiced it. So because we never thought of it, therefore we could not do it. So therefore, students, it's a very important time for all of you also that you should get exposed to it. It's not that hard and fast rule that you should do it. But if you know it and if you can make an attempt to do it out of say 50 things, 5 also you will be in a position to do it now in your examination. Remaining 1000 things, the interest will be there. Once you have the interest as a professional student, you are going to then escalate to unlimited areas wherein you will become unstoppable. The confidence has to come somewhere, and that is where this is what's an important stage to get exposed. See from the window and pick up only few things. Whatever you can pick up, implement it if possible. Not all, very few things. Take a baby step and do this now. And I'm telling you, not only will escalate in the terms of your scoring, number one, but escalate your professional life to a much wider spectrum, which you cannot think of it at this particular stage of your life. This is a great learning. So, students, yesterday I heard Harish Salve in the Supreme Court of India. He was speaking about this, and I felt so good that this is something which I used to teach to the students. Nevertheless, this is something, it means that the law, if you want to just write lex non, first write like this, although I will not explain to you right now, but you can just write lex non logit, logita, Logit, ad, ad, impossiblia, impossiblia, lex non logit ad impossiblia. And right in this case, the law does not, the law does not require you to do an impossible thing. The law does not require you to do an impossible thing. This will come later on, students. At that time, I will make you explain. Right now is qua. Second point, students. Second. This was first, and this is second. The law does not require you to do an impossible thing. Okay. This you want to know where, if you will say, sir, but can you tell us the context? One place it came. Students, where it came, I tell you. The company in where the mining areas, coal mine, where people are working, these are bit dangerous also. Naxalite areas are there. So in one of the case, I think Coal India or some mining, I'm not remembering the company's name. What happened was that the directors who were there in the mine, they were kidnapped by these Naxalite people who were there. They kidnapped these directors around and some more people. And after kidnap, they demanded from the company a ransom of some 1 or 2 crores. Good amount they demanded. Even if the matter went to the police, but obviously the life was at stake, and the company, and they were in the duty at that stage. Not that they are going for a vacation and they got kidnapped. That was at the time of the office duty, and the demand was made to the company, not to the family members also, because the company was excavating. These people had a revenge from the companies. Why? You are coming in our area, doing all the mining work, taking all our natural resources and depleting our life. So therefore, they demanded 5 crores, 1 crore, something. Police complaint was done. That is a different story, but the company gave the amount. Okay. Now, was it for the purpose of business? Answer is yes. Why? Because obviously, in the official duty that this thing happened, and that too, our director, who are important personnel, key personnel, are gone. And for us, if they are not there with us, our business is down. We don't know where we are going to go. Therefore, they paid 1 crore rupee. Okay. And is it for purpose of business? Yes. Official duty, key person, very important person for our business. If they are not there, we are done. Our business is done. Though for personal reason, that is for their family. But for us also, it is very important for they to be there. So, for the purpose of business. Problem was that they paid in cash 1 crore. Therefore, the assessing officer said, "Oh, you paid in 1 crore in cash, 40A3." One provision is there. Are you aware of one section runs 40A3? What is 40A3? Payment in cash, expenditure paid in cash in excess of 10,000 is disallowed. So, AO applied 40A3 and he disallowed the expenditure. So, 1 crore you paid in cash, disallowed. At that time, the MP High Court said this. How, thinking of this, can the company pay in check DD to these people? That okay, take this check, release these people. Is this a transaction that can happen anytime? Answer is no in this case. And therefore, it is impossible that this sort of a transaction can happen in this particular way. And therefore, if there is a law of 43, it is impossible. And if it is the law cannot expect you to do impossible things. And this is one of the example of impossible thing. And hence they said that 40A3 disallowance will not apply over here. And while they told that judgment, they used this particular phrase. And what is the phrase? Lex non logit ad impossiblia. And yesterday also I heard Harish Salve saying about this, but that's a different story. This is in fact what is the point which has been there for us. Okay. Coming on our next point, friends, which is this word qua. Friends, these examples which I give it to you for your understanding purpose, you can write it in your own words later on also, because that story is already known to you. For me, what is important is the principle. Students, this word qua. Qua means in relation to. Okay. See how I'm using this word. Huh? So, first lecture itself, apart from the concept, students, I just wanted to set the expectation in order what you are going to find it in the class. One, the concepts. Second is the command, proficiency. And third is a practice. Lot of practice. In fact, you will find a lot of question bank. You will be absolutely, you will get mesmerized with the kind of question that we have. So students over here, what I am trying to tell to all of you is this. Be careful. So here students, what I told you, qua. So qua means in relation to. So please write point number 2, qua. Have you written qua? Point number 2, qua is in relation to. Perfect. Now, be careful, students. Can I say, therefore, that where is the charging section? Yeah. Total income is in relation to the previous year. It could be in relation to what? A month, a quarter, a 6 months, isn't it? So total income is in relation to previous year. Or can I say total income is qua previous year? Can I say that? Yes. Point number 2. Can I say this? That the total income. What did I told about the customs duty? Or what did I told you about GST? It is a transaction based tax. It is a tax on every transaction, on every event of import and export, on every supply of goods and services. It is a transaction based tax. It is a tax on business. What about the total income? Is it total income qua a transaction? No. It is qua a period. What is the period? Previous year. Similarly, the total income is in relation to a person. My total income. Total income is in relation to a person. Qua a person. Total income in relation to a person. Total income qua a person and not qua a business. You are not supposed to compute total income of business. Total income of what? Total income of a person. And therefore, if it is a total income of a person, can I say then it is a personal tax? Total income of a person. Is it a total income of business that you are computing, or you are computing total income of a person? Total income of a person. Business is one of the component. Business is what? One of the component. And therefore, you know the 5 heads of income. Which are those 5 heads of income? Salary, house property, PGBP, capital gains and other sources. So business is a component. And therefore, if I have to take a total 360-degree view, so total is for a person. Primarily, in that person, business is a component. So total income of a person. So therefore, in this case, total income is qua a person, not qua business. And if it is total income of a person, can I say then it is a personal tax? Total income my person. So can I now tell me if I am computing PGBP? Now you apply your mind. Tell me now, students. If I am computing a component which is PGBP, in that PGBP computation, can I claim a deduction of income tax? In the computation of PGBP, can I claim the deduction of income tax? Many of you are aware, sir, income tax is disallowed in PGBP computation. Yes, many of you are aware. Perfectly fine. That's very good that you people are aware. That you are saying, sir, income tax we have read. We can remember at least in interest somewhere it was written in PGBP income tax disallowed. Fine. But I give you a new term now. What is the new term? Here the new term is it anyway will get disallowed. Why? Because income tax is not for a business. Income tax is not for a business. Income tax is a tax on the total income of a person. And business is only a component. Because income tax is also on the capital gains. Income tax is also on the other sources. So you cannot say income tax, a tax of business, unlike GST, unlike custom duty. These are the transaction tax. These are the tax of business. And hence what? Indirect tax is allowed as deduction. In PGBP computation, GST paid, you get deduction. Excise duty, custom duty, you get deduction. Although there is one section, payment basis. If you are aware, it's good. If you are not aware, even that is good. But indirect tax is allowed as deduction. Why? It is a transaction tax. It is a tax on business. But what about what? What about the income tax? It is not a tax on the income. It is not a tax on a business. It is a tax on the total income of a person, and in that total income, one of the component is business and profession. There are other components also which have to be taken into account in computing my total income, and on that total income tax is charged. On that total income tax is charged. Is that point clear to all of you students now? Every one of you are clear? Perfect. So this is what students it is. I think this was note number 2 you have written. Please write note number 3. Very important note students, you all are writing it over here. Quickly. Note number 3. The computation of total income the computation of total income the computation of total income is in the right in bracket, keep writing like this, meaning in relation to. Why students I'm using this one? There is one more reason for that, and you'll appreciate my reason. In your final CA now, law is not there. So obviously that language proficiency you are not having it. Just imagine this. You have audit. Auditing is not law. Audit, I told you, audit materiality, I told you. Item is material if its misstatement affects the economic decision of the user of financial statement. Audit is more related to accountings and all. There was a paper of law. Once you have gone through in final CA with a serious study, then maybe in this case the direct tax, it would have somewhat have helped. Not that in entirety, but now it becomes an added responsibility in income tax paper. Why? Well, GST also doesn't have these things. GST is more procedural. Due dates, returns, supply, place of supply, all these things. Income tax is a hardcore law, which as such is more evolving. So you need that language also to justify your position, what you want to write, what position you are taking. That positioning has to be very clear. And therefore these legal language helps you to underlie that position. What position you want to take. So law not being a part of your new course now in the main league of your paper. Therefore in the CA final direct tax paper is the first paper where you hit on a serious legal paper. It's a serious legal paper now. The first paper is an income tax now. Paper number 4. And that's the reason why students, escalate yourself to this. I'm telling you, across India, no students are doing it. Take it from me. Ask your friend, anyone. Nobody is in fact near to what you are going to get into it. So just you're only a bit extra, 10%, 15% on this side of making your sentence formation proper, sentence formation decisive. We will write a short sentence only, but whatever we write it in such a way that it actually gives the entire theme and it is more attractive in a legal sense. So that is my entire focus also, that to enhance your ability to express in a legal manner. because at the end of the day this will require a lot of reasonings on your part, and how you reason, these languages will definitely stand out across the country. Across the country, I'm not talking about your center, across the country. Take it from me. So the computation of total income is qua a person and not qua a business. Business is only business is only a component in computation of the total income. In computation of the total income. Therefore, income tax is also a personal tax which cannot be allowed as deduction in computing the income of any component or the heads of income. Any component or the heads of income. Can you write, keep writing instead of doing full stop? Unlike in the case of in the case of indirect tax, in the bracket to write GST, customs duty, GST custom duty, which is a transaction based tax, a transaction based tax, in the bracket business tax, comma, which is allowed as deduction, which is allowed as deduction, which is allowed as deduction in computing PGB. In computing PGB. I want all of you to read note number 3 once. All the 3 notes you read. All of you read all the 3 notes. And just let me know once you are all comfortable with this. So all of you through with this one, students? So that exactly is the point. Now we are done with the charging section, students, completely. All the first and the most important aspect of it. So students, this is the first thing. Now, as I told you, students, this initial lecture start couple of maybe one more lecture and one more class. 3 class would be the basic. Just want to ensure that your base is strong. And then students, after the 3 sessions, I am entering into the non-resident taxation. You say, sir, but non-resident taxation, why? It's the same thing, students. Don't worry. Same heads of income and all those stuff, we are going to deal with it, but from the angle of non-resident. So here only I'm changing the residential status, and then I'm taking you through, and you yourself will realize how systematically we do it and how much practical problem that we solve with students. Today being the first session, students, I will have to leave it today here in itself. So one stage we have done with it. Tomorrow's session, students, when we do, I'm going to attack the total income and the rate of tax, because something important has happened in the rate of tax which I will expose to all of you for your attempt. It is very, very important. What is that? That point, students, we are going to see in the tomorrow sessions. Okay, so I'll see you then, students, tomorrow. Hopefully, which has been there in this case. So May 24, November 24. Okay, one more point, sir. Regular batch is for how many hours? That is the point, isn't it? 200 hours, 200 to 205 hours. I can just say, students, right now, because 205 to 210, you can say that way. If I have to say 200 to 210 right now, but I'll just see that module of the ICF first, the extent of their coverage, what these people are now doing it. All the things will get covered, technically speaking, but extent of the coverage is the game. So if I have got 300 pages, 250 to 275 pages of your module number 1, which is on international taxation, non-resident transfer pricing, exceptionally made. Students, you yourself will appreciate this. The book, once it has been there, and all your colleagues who will be appearing it, they will feel that pressure of the content that we are going to get into it. But if I am doing that content, students, it will be a full of logics and everything which should be there. But as I told you, it needs to be backed up with the precise presentation and practice from examination point of view. Because what happens, I don't know right now for May 24 attempt, because paper we don't know, your attempt are only the first attempt. But up till last recent attempts, all course students have literally struggled to complete their papers. So even that point is also there in my mind, and let's try to address all these glaring aspects primarily in this particular session. Okay, so let's make this journey the most memorable journey, students, for all of us. And I will be very happy once you people also break the record, if not of my boss Pranav Seta 99, at least of my student. His name was, he is in Singapore right now, this person. I forgot his name, but that name will strike. May 23, 94. So 94 is up till now the highest marks. Now it's up to you, students, to take it further. Okay, see you then, students. Take care. Bye bye.